Last week on 757 Saturday Sports Talk on ESPN Radio 94.1, that sharply dressed coach, Ed Young, did his darndest to catch that whippersnapper, Matt Hatfield.
Give me my Cardinals laying 7.5 at the hapless, hopeless, helpless Jets, Jets.
Atlanta's got to win sooner or later. It's a divisional game. Give me Atlanta. I think it's -1. Going with the Saints, -7.5.
No way, buddy boy!
I like a lot the Houston Texans. I like Houston. They got Romeo Crennel now instead of Bill O'Brien. I think they will rally for him. Give me them laying the 5.5 against the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Oh, boy.
I'm going Seattle, -7.
Texas A&M's going to beat Florida today.
Better keep moving, don't stand still. If the Skeeters don't get him, then the Gators will. If the Skeeters don't get him, then the Gators will.
I used to know this.
And this one's going to get me in trouble.
In the world.
Get down. Just don't get down to the Giants. Because if you get down to the Giants, folks, I don't care if you come back. You should just go away, Dallas.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, they have the Giant Picnic. They hold it over in Totowa, I think it is. And then they have the Giant Relay Race and the Giant Raffle. And then they all get together for the Giant Breakfast the next morning, and then they go their separate ways. It is true. It's a July weekend every year when it happens.
I'm staying away from the Giants.
Dallas Cowboys, Dallas, we are the Cowboys.
This is 757 Saturday Sports Talk with Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young on ESPN Radio 94.1.
Good Saturday morning to you all out there. A couple weeks away from Halloween. It is the 17th day of October, the year 2020. Matt Hatfield here with you on 757 Saturday Sports Talk. Joined, as always, in the saddle once again by the coach, Ed Young, my colleague, the head basketball coach of the Nansemond River, who was getting ready for the round ball to get it going literally in just under 2 months with the first official practice in early December. Dino Franza, our producer, engineer, other side of the glass, still basking in the glory of his latest Bears victory, which came on Thursday night against Tom Brady and the Bucs. They'll try to get another W to improve their postseason chances. As always, the program is brought to you by Larry King Law. If you're injured in an accident, you call 757-INJURED for Larry King. That's 757-595-8100. How are you, Coach? Doing all right this morning?
Feel good this morning. Brisk, sunny fall day out there.
Weather's to your liking. You enjoy the fall and spring weather more than you do the winter and summer, I dare say, or you're a summer guy?
By far.
That's because you're not in school.
Followed somewhat by spring. Fall, it gets a 2 out of 5 rating for me, and winter is 0.
Isn't that crazy? You know, his least favorite month, or favorite season, I should say, not month, season of the year of the 4 seasons is winter, and that's when basketball is being played.
Yeah. There could be some relation there.
Yeah, there could be at times.
When you're losing, it's even worse.
It's colder.
But it's from my upbringing days in Pennsylvania. Those winters are a little bit different than down here. I hate the cold weather.
I can see that. Well, a lot to get to on the program today. Plenty of time to hop in here again at 757-687-9494. That's our telephone number, area code 757-687-9494. We'll talk about anything in the world of sports, local sports around the 757 area code, and the Commonwealth of Virginia is our specialty. And we have a poll question for you to weigh in on, too, on our Twitter feed, which is 757 Sports Talk. Go check that out at 757 Sports Talk. And we have a few special guests today. A big show today in terms of the guest lineup. We've got one of the best in the business, Ed, when it comes to talking baseball. He's been on with us before. ESPN Major League Baseball analyst Tim Kirchin scheduled to come on with us. He squeezed in some time for us. We really appreciate that. Around 10:45 this morning to break down the postseason, where we've got a game number 6 today and a game number 7 today in the National League Championship Series, American League Championship Series. A couple of local stars in the likes of Chris Taylor from Cox High School, Virginia Beach, UVA fame with the Dodgers, who are still alive. They stayed off elimination last night with a victory over the Braves by a count of 7-3, despite the rough outing from Clayton Kershaw yet again in game number 4. So game number 6 in the NLCS comes your way today at 4:38 p.m. Eastern Time with the first pitch. And then game number 7 of the American League Championship Series, win or go home, do or die, the Tampa Bay Rays, who led 3-0. And we have not just one local guy, I should say. We have 2 with Brandon Lau out of Nansemond River High School, as well as Ryan Yarbrough, the Old Dominion product. One a pitcher and Yarbrough, one a hitter there. And Lau, game 7 comes your way tonight, 8:37 the first pitch. The pitching matchups you got Fried versus Buehler with the Braves and the Dodgers, and McCullers going up against Morton, as Morton tries to beat his former team and get Tampa Bay to the World Series.
Well, everybody's excited. Tampa Bay opened up 3-0, unless you're an Astro fan. I had said at the beginning of it all that I was hoping for a Tampa Bay Atlanta World Series, and then it started out looking like that, but I thought I picked the Astros and Dodgers to win it, and now it looks like everything's going the Astros' way. Of course, it's a one-game series now, and if Atlanta wins today, it's over. If not, then they go game 7 tomorrow. But my boy Brandon Lau, it's worst. It's got to be his worst slump maybe in his life. Little league all the way up, and staying positive. And he did get a couple hits. Got a home run yesterday, correct?
No, day before, I think it was. Yeah, game number, was that 4? Yeah, game number 5 that was. He got the home run in. So he was hitting under 100 for the postseason prior to that. So good to see him do that. And Taylor's been a utility, versatile key cog for the Dodgers. Tampa Bay is switching its lineup every day, much more than L.A. and for that matter, Atlanta and Houston. But, man, it could be the second time here. Remember 2004 when your Yankees blew a 3-0 lead against the Red Sox. If Tampa does that today. And you know what's crazy? It felt like after they made it to Game 6, people got on the Astros bandwagon because of their experience with that core 4, if you will, even though they don't have a Justin Verlander of ODU fame on the pitching mound for them, and Garrett Cole left for the Yankees after pitching for them in the playoffs on their way to a World Series trip a season ago, with the likes of Correa and Springer and Altuve and Bregman. Those guys have been there before to experience. It's all leaning towards the Astros. And Dusty Baker may finally get over the hump. He's come close to winning the World Series. Remember that 2002 World Series with San Francisco. They were up 3-2 against the then Anaheim Angels, now the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. I mean, it's the same thing, basically. And the rally monkey came out for the Angels, and they came back and beat Dusty and the Giants with Barry Bonds and that crew. Dusty may finally, remember he was close with Dino's Cubs. They won it after Dusty departed. He might get his chance if they get to the World Series. And I think baseball, the national audience wants to see Dodgers, Astros. You probably would concur with that. Although us here, we'd love to see. Rays Dodgers wouldn't be bad from a local standpoint. I'm tired of the Astros and Dodgers. Dodgers are a division rival for me as a D-backs fan. I don't really care for them too much, and they've been choking dogs too many times here lately. And then the Astros, they're just cheaters. I don't care for them still. I know. Well, it's been past that. They're still cheaters. I don't care for them.
I think you're right. The country would not want to see the Astros in there because of what happened, and they thought the commissioner went light on them by not really hammering any of the players.
But wouldn't you acknowledge it's the more compelling storyline if you got Astros and Dodgers after what happened a few years ago?
Right, and I think probably 98% of the country, except for the Houston area, everybody except for the Houston area would be for the Dodgers on it. That's why I kind of wanted to see Tampa Bay and Atlanta, more of our area, and of course for Tampa because of Brandon Lau. But the Tampa team just amazes me. They play so well together. You mentioned Lau playing in left field. It seems like most of their guys play 2 positions. It's almost like prerequisite. You have to have the ability to play 2 positions. Lau has played first base. I know in the minors, I think he might have played a little bit of third base, and I know in high school and college he played some shortstop.
Well, and I'll get to it with Tim perhaps if we have time. Blake Snell's now gone 19 straight starts without going 6 innings pitched, the longest active streak in Major League Baseball among non-openers, regular season and playoffs. The last time he completed 6 innings was July 21st of 2019. Too many of these starters get yanked, boom, right off the bat. I'm so over that. And that's what baseball is now. Instead of seeing that, great pitching performance from a Roger Clemens or a Randy Johnson or a Pedro Martinez or whoever the ace starter is, they're yanking these guys in the 4th and 5th inning.
Yeah, it's way different than back in the day when you had guys throwing 300 innings. I think there was a few that went 400 innings. You threw your Nolan Rhines out there, your Gaylord Perrys, your Bob Gibson, Fergie Jenkins, your Phil Necros, and those guys, for the most part, they expected them to go 9, unless they got shelled in an inning, and then they came out. But you never saw where managers say, "Well, I hope this guy gets gets to 5, has a lead, we get him out. And then sometimes they don't even worry if he has a lead or not. They're coming out 4th, 5th inning. And, of course, you had a situation where Tampa, was it last year, year before, they started relievers and pitched them for an inning or two before bringing in a regular starter. So it's completely different now.
Very much so. If you want to weigh in on the conversation when it comes to baseball or anything else in the world of sports, 757-687-9494 is the telephone number. That's area code 757-687-9494 here on 757 Saturday Sports Talk with the Coach Ed Young. I am Matt Hatfield here on ESPN Radio 94.1, brought to you by Larry King Law. And besides Tim Kirchen, who is a mega star in the business when it comes to baseball, just don't ask him about avocados, Ed. We'll also be joined by, in the 11 o'clock hour, the likes of Damian Sordelette with the news in advance out there in Lynchburg. He's going to talk about Liberty football, give me liberty or give me death, as they try to make it to, Liberty's unblemished, by the way, 5-0, keep the unbeaten streak going and get their first ever win against an ACC team that are 0-8 all time against ACC foes. This will be their first 5-0 start since 2008, just the first 5-0 start ever. And they're taking on Syracuse today, who has struggled mightily, although the Orange are ranked number 1 in the nation in takeaways with 14. And you want to know how we did on our buy or sell last week. We have some of the results from the buy or sell. I know this is the one that really got Dino's attention. The blocked punt, Dino, trying to make it 4 in a row for Kansas State.
Right.
They didn't get a blocked punt. However, they got a blocked field goal last week against the Horned Frogs of TCU on their way to triumphing over Gary Patterson's team. So how about that? They made it 4. They made it another week, but they didn't get a blocked punt. They got a field goal blocked.
Yeah, they got the field goal blocked. And what was one of the other ones last week? Trevor Lawrence not throwing a pick, which he didn't again.
He didn't throw the INT. Ed got that one right. I didn't. So he did better in buy or sell. He hasn't done too well in the NFL picks, which we got coming your way in the next segment of the program for week number 6 in the league where they play for pay. And what's that now? It's getting near 400 now consecutive passes without an INT. It's just a remarkable streak that he's on. And Clemson in action today, high noon against Georgia Tech, the Yellow Jackets, who have been playing better, not exactly a power, if you will, or a major contender. And how about this, Ed? First time ever, the ACC's got 3 teams in the AP top 5. Clemson's number 1. You're Fighting Irish of Notre Dame with one of our local studs in Jeremiah Owusu of Bethel High fame. I saw a couple of draftniks tweet out last week. They think Owusu could be a top 10 pick. Not just a first-round pick, a top 10 pick in next year's draft. And UNC with Dazzling Daz Newsome of the Hampton Crabbers, also Tony Grimes, Princess Anne, also Cameron Kelly, who had about 8 or 9 tackles last week in the secondary out of Oscar Smith High in Chesapeake. And there wasn't a lot of defense played in that game or any of the games. UNC piled up over 700 yards as they beat Justin Fuente's Virginia Tech Hokies, missing several guys again on defense. First time ever, though, 3 top 5 teams in the AP poll for the ACC with Clemson, Notre Dame, and UNC. And we can't forget about a couple local guys for Clemson. And Jordan Williams of Cox High on the defensive line was a guest back in August on this show, as well as Sheridan Jones of Maury High in Norfolk. Sheridan, as a sophomore, got his first career INT last week as he picked off Derek King.
Well, it's good for the ACC. They need that kind of notoriety. Clemson right now, I just think, is head and shoulders above every team in the country, including number 2 Alabama, who has a great matchup today with number 3 Georgia.
Go on record. Come on, get you a good W for next week's intro. You're going to pick the Bulldogs today with
Alabama.
What if Nick Saban's not coaching on a sideline?
He doesn't play. He hasn't had a tackle all year. He hasn't caught a touchdown all year. So
are you going to guarantee the Tide?
No.
You're not going to
guarantee. No, Georgia's good. Georgia's real
Very
good. I'm going Bama in a high-scoring affair.
And how about this, Dino? We got it wrong when we said would Georgia remain number 1 in the SEC in the 4 major defensive categories as far as yards allowed total, rushing yards, passing yards, and scoring defense. They're still number 1 in the SEC after rallying to beat Tennessee last week.
That's right. That was another one of those from last week. So, college football, strange year, obviously, with the situation. And you still have a couple major conferences that haven't even played a game yet in the Big Ten and the Pac-12.
And they'll be getting going next week with the Big Ten. And we have a number of local players we mentioned a few weeks back on the show in those on those teams in the conference with Maryland and Penn State and Ohio State, and the Pac-12 follows the first week of November. Ed did get the better of me in buy or sell, Dino. However, I do want to point out Juice Herbert of Virginia Tech, no longer the lone 200-yard rusher in the ACC for a game in the month of October. You say, why is that? Well, I took the buy on that And UNC's running back, Mr. Michael Carter, hit for 200-plus against that much maligned, depleted Hokies defense. So I got that one on him. And kudos to our man, Tavante Beckett. I didn't jinx him on the show. See, I keep telling you, Eddie, you're the jinx. You weren't a part of that interview. I was. Indian River fame, the linebacker. He had not one, not two, but 3 fumble recoveries in the same game as they beat Western Kentucky last week. He also had a scoop and score, ran one back for a touchdown. The Thundering Herd thundered their way to a victory over WKU. I bought that they would get 2 picks of Tyrell Pigrome. Didn't get the picks because they got the fumbles, the scoop and scores, and they blew them out.
You know, I'm glad for Mr. Beckett. He's running his way or tackling his way into possibly the linebacker award as in Bronco Nagurski award at the end of the year.
Defensive Player of the Year maybe in the conference.
I think he's there, and I think he's going to be looked at in the nation. He's done well, and you got me. We got to do more buy and sell. I do good on that. I'm frivolous with my money, but when these picks with these so-called NFL teams, something's going on with these guys.
You're not just frivolous with your money. You're just frivolous in general.
Well, when you don't make a lot of money, you have to be frivolous with a lot of what you have. It's just the way it is.
A couple more things here before we go to break real quickly here on this edition of 757 Saturday Sports Talk I wanted to highlight real quickly here. The NCAA announcing on Wednesday that Norfolk State University and the city of Virginia Beach have been selected to host 4 NCAA men's and women's indoor track and field championships. The meets between 2023 and 2026, the brand new Virginia Beach Sports Center, which I'll be at later today, by the way. There's a basketball event going on over there, and it's going to be with all the social distancing and protocol, so don't worry, folks. Virginia Beach Sports Center is going to host 2023 and 2026 NCAA Division II Indoor Championships, the 2024 Division III Indoor Championships, and the 2025 D1 Indoor Championship. 5 years are going to host a D1 Indoor Championship, and Norfolk State's going to serve as the host institution for an NCAA championship event for the first time. They'll also be the first HBCU, historically black college university, to host an NCAA Division I national championship track event. So great to see from Norfolk State and the Virginia Beach Sports Center, the brand spanking new VB Sports Center, which I know you might have your team in an event next month, and potentially maybe we'll get to do the show out there next month for one of the Saturdays.
Hoping the powers be will allow us, and Dino has to work on that for us. So Dino is one of the powers to be.
You got to bring him donuts and coffee and all the fixings.
Dino goes into the boardroom, and he's the guy that pounds the board and says, you got to take care of these guys, and if you don't, I'm walking.
That's not true. He pounds the board and says, work, thing, work.
Yeah, I do. I pound it, and then they kick me out. And so I am walking, yes. I walk out the room.
2 other nuggets we want to pass along here. And by the way, high school football game today. You say, what? High school football? Yeah.
What?
Portsmouth Christian hosting Atlantic Shores, 4 o'clock today. We might have some sound if time allows us at the end of the show with our man Reese Becker of VirginiaPreps.com. He caught up with Coach Josh Blaylock, who we had on a few weeks back, to do a little bit of a recap of their big win last week over Fork Union and preview the game with Atlantic Shores. Another high school note, James Smith, defensive lineman of Princess Anne, committed to play his college football at Louisiana Monroe this week. UL Monroe, not to be confused with my Raging Cajuns of UL Lafayette, who took a tough loss this week against Coastal Carolina. Very disappointed about that. And by the way, Coastal Carolina is not still coached by the guy that says, be a dog, not a cat, be a dog. I forgot the guy's name. He's not there anymore. Anyhow.
Last name Perrin or something like that.
Yeah, I forgot. Anyway, he looks just like Jeff Beard, by the way, former Hickory and Kempsville football coach. That'll be in next year's photo doppelganger bracket challenge. Anyhow, not to get totally sidetracked here. Princess Anne's James Smith commits to UL Monroe. He's the 5th Virginia high school football player in this 2021 class to commit to UL Monroe, which got hammered last week by Liberty and is still yet to win a game this season. I have no earthly idea how UL Monroe is getting these players, but they've got them so far.
They must have an assistant.
Verbally committed, and they must. They absolutely must.
Virginia connection.
And I'll tell you who's going to be trying to get some players around the 757. It's not been made official just yet. However, reports up in the Daily News Record is having that Emory and Henry, coached by a familiar face to those around Hampton Roads, Kurt Newsom, could be making the jump next year, Ed. The Wasps of Emory and Henry. What a great nickname. The Wasps. Might sting you. Are going to be moving up to Division II, it does appear, from Division III. So scholarship for them, they'd be the 4th Division II program in our state, joining Virginia Union, Virginia State, and UVA-wise, if that does indeed get finalized here before next season.
One of the things I was looking at, too, and looking at these college games, in fact, the other night, BYU, Houston was on. 2 decent teams, and the discrepancy is that was BYU's 5th game, which they won, and and only Houston's second game. So, and then I'm looking at today in some situations, Temple has only played one game, and they're hosting South Florida. So that's something you don't normally see in a normal year. Everybody's playing the same amount of games.
As we go to break here, Dino, that's the way Ed should make his picks. He should take the Cougars when BYU plays Houston. Just take the nickname of the two teams that have the same nickname, and he can't lose.
If you allow me to do that, I'm going to do that.
We might coming up next with our.
My problem is in the pros. They all have the same. They all have.
Yeah, you're in trouble there. Well, we'll see. Unless you talk about the Washington football team, which is still nicknameless at the moment. We'll see if Ed Young is daring enough to take them against Big Blue, and we'll have the picks, including Dino's dog, coming up next here on 757 Saturday Sports Talk on the coach's favorite radio station. What is it?
Without a doubt, the best in the world, ESPN Radio 94.1.